I also want to talk about your property journey, because that's something our readers will be extremely interested in. When did your property journey start?
Well, I suppose when I bought my first house when I was about 24, 25, and then, so you know, everyone says you make money in bricks and mortar and things like that. I got involved in property a lot when I was at Dreams because we had hundreds of leases and those properties still need looking after, and you do sort of understand about prices per square foot and certain freeholds as well. But personally, I had bought and sold various houses myself, and we sort of moved our way up the property ladder. So, you know, and I felt we'd done well with that, and it was just a love. You know, I'd like architecture for some reason, and interior design, everything to do with property. I think a lot of people are the same. And when we sold the business and we had some money, we were looking at where to invest money because the city was in a bit of turmoil and didn't really trust necessarily some wealth advisors, and interest rates were pretty low. So investing into property seemed a relatively simple option. And I didn't really want to do what most people would. Well, we did. We bought some office blocks in Slough and some residential property, and that's all fairly safe, and it was a good return, a good yield. But it was a bit boring. So, you know, this was the fun part, to buy some unusual buildings and to do them up. So we didn't have too much of a plan as to exactly how we were going to operate them once they'd been done up. It wasn't an idea of buying them and doing them up and then selling them. But it was unusual properties that my wife and I really sort of had a passion for. So castles in Scotland, monasteries, a chateau in Wales, forts in the south coast and things like that. So you know, that was a challenge, and the journey was just exciting. And then eventually, once they've been all done up and converted, and some quirky sort of things about each of them, you know, we now operate them as sort of hotels. We say hotels for events really, so mostly weddings and conferences and big parties and things like that.
You've got quite a few brands underneath you that sort of operate.
Too many,
yeah, which operate within property. Can you tell us a bit about sort of each strand under the Clare & Co brand and what they do with property?
Beaconsfield Executive Homes is just like, you know, larger executive 5-bedroom detached houses that we let out to companies, and they put normally international sort of their own employees into there that have been seconded over to Britain, maybe near London somewhere, for a year or two, and there's good schools around Beaconsfield. So that was a concept for Beaconsfield Executive Homes. Country Manor Estates was larger country houses that we would also let out for sort of semi-house parties, semi-short-term lets and things like that. But again, slightly different market to the normal buy-to-let, which is normally not as low as a student, but more lower market type properties as a normal buy-to-let. But we wanted to do something a little bit differently, so we had Country Manor Estates and Beaconsfield Executive Homes. And then the Amazing Venues was just another stage on top of that, which is just big properties which had character. And so we're looking for capital growth of the work that we've done to improve them, and we've bought properties adjacent to them, the farm around Stanbrook Abbey we've recently bought, and various other things, and it's then creating a revenue stream for bigger events. So we just had this idea that hotels are a little bit boring, but having big parties, or whether it's a wedding or a conference, there are groups of people that all know each other, and they need bedrooms, and they need catering, and they need dining rooms and function rooms. And rather than it being lots of individual people at a hotel that don't know each other, we would most concentrate on catering for big groups of people. So that's where the concept came about.
And out of all those strands, which one have you found the most successful? Where have you found the most traction?
Well, the most successful is the boring ones. But the most fun is definitely the castles and the forts and things like that. That's so exciting. And I think that's a longer term play. So more initially, we put a lot of money into that, and it hasn't necessarily financially been as successful as the others. But I think it's a long term play. You know, eventually one day they will eventually be sold, and it's very difficult to value 3 forts in the middle of the sea. You know, there isn't one next door that you can say, well, that went for that. So they've got their own unique sort of thing. Who knows what that's worth? It's not necessarily a multiple of EBITDA. There's something a bit more tangible about it than that.
And what's your sort of KPIs that you look at when you're looking at sort of property investments? What's the sort of number? I mean, you talked about yield earlier on, saying it's not bad.
Yeah.
What do you look at out of a property investment?
Well, you know, it's the position in the country. So, you know, do you want to be far away from everything? There's a retreat to go to. So we're in Anglesey. We've got a chateau in Anglesey, and that's, you know, yeah, tucked up at the top corner of the country. You know, we've got one of the castles near John O'Groats, Ackley Hill Tower, and that's a long way to get there. But that can be a disadvantage in transport and driving, or planes and trains to get there. But it's also a great thing if you want to have a retreat and you want to get away and you want to experience real proper Scottish Highland culture. So you know, you're not going to get that so much in Glasgow or Edinburgh. So you've just got to think, well, what is this going to be used for? So position is I suppose, important. And then it's looking for good value, something that's different, something that's quirky, something that's, there's so many things that are just the same, whether it's houses or hotels, but finding something with some character, something that's just got that type of thing that people will pay that little bit extra for. So, you know, when we bought the monastery, we had to buy it off the Vatican, so that was an exciting sort of a negotiation. And, you know, it'd been empty for 3 or 4 years. It had 90 nun cells and only 4 bathrooms, you know, and now it's got 52 bedroom suites. And, you know, we spent millions of pounds sort of putting an extension onto it, and we had to deal with the planners. And, you know, and there's so many issues around that, but it's actually, that's part of the fun, the excitement of it.
So that's what draws you in then. It's not necessarily the numbers, or are there key numbers?
No,
that you say
not really. I mean, luckily, you know, if I had to borrow the money to do what we've done, you know, I would have had to do a little bit more reporting and business plan. So I've gone more of a gut feel. I'm not suggesting that is exactly the right thing to do. If you haven't got the money to do that, then you know, you've got to be a bit more careful. But luckily, I was in a position, and I'm not investing all my money into this amazing venues. I can afford to be a little bit sort of gut reaction as to what I think is right or wrong.